Hey guys, it's Hazel West, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Now, this I'm doing a little bit late because I just have not gotten the time to film it, but I still wanted to do the tag, so I'm going to just go into it. So, the first question was the best book I read so far this year. And this was pretty hard, but I think the one that has actually stuck with me, like the one that I cannot stop thinking about it, is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. I love this book so much, and I genuinely have been trying to find an excuse to reread it as well. I just haven't had the time, but it was just such a good story, and so normal, but also so beautiful. And just a really good like brotherly relationship um, about real people, and it had just such a good message and such a good just a good ending in general. And I just loved it so much. Obviously, if you've seen my wrap up video when I did this one, you'll know how much I loved it. So that's my favorite book of the year so far. For best, the next one is best sequel that I read this year. I actually had to narrow this down to two. The first one was The Thickety by Book 2, The Whispering Trees by J.A. White. This was a really, really good book. Still, I haven't read the last one yet in the series, but so far this has been my favorite book of the series. It was just so dark and amazing, and the characterization was just so good, and I loved it. This was, like, I really liked the first one, but this is the one that made me really fall in love with the series. And the other one I have, which came out this year, the Thickety one didn't come out this year, so I picked one that came out this year and one that didn't. So the one I picked that came out this year was Wrath of the Storm by Jennifer A. Nielsen. This is book 3 in the Praetor War series, or Mark of the Thief trilogy, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the third and final book in the trilogy. This was just so good. Typical of Jennifer A. Nielsen's series, her books get better with each edition, and this was very much the same. I just really loved Nick's story, seeing how it ended. I was very, very satisfied with the end of this series. Um, for new release that I have not, uh, that I haven't gotten to read yet but want to, I'm gonna say Flame in the Mist by Renee Adia. Um, I, I'm really looking forward to reading this one because I think it's gonna be really cool. Um, I'll get to it soon. I just haven't had a lot of time to read. I've been trying to read up library books, but pretty soon I will get to this one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does with like kind of a cool Japanese setting and folklore. So I'm really looking forward to that. For most anticipated releases for the second half of the year, I chose Marissa Mayer's new book Renegades, which is a superhero novel, but it sounds really awesome. And after her Lunar Chronicles, I'm really interested to see what she's going to do with this. And also, I believe it's the fifth Lockwood book, Lockwood and Co. book by Jonathan Stroud. I just love his books so much. I love that series, and I cannot wait to see where it goes next. So, really looking forward to that. Okay, so now, for the biggest disappointment of my reading year. Sadly, I've read a few kind of not so great books this year. I would say Winter Song for this, but considering the fact that I just hated Winter Song so much that it kind of went beyond disappointment to just pure hate, that I think I'm gonna choose Desolation by Derek Landy. It was the second book in the Demon Road trilogy, and I just really, really, like, the first book was okay, I enjoyed that, but the second book I just really hated where he went with it, and so it was a really big disappointment because I didn't want to read the rest of the series, but I really liked a couple of the characters in it, and it made me really sad. that I couldn't read about them anymore, but I just couldn't wade through all the other junk. So, after that, the biggest surprise of the year, I'm gonna have to apologize because I'm gonna be redoing some of the books, some of the answers that I chose, but for this one I'm gonna have to go with the List of Cages again because I rarely ever like contemporaries. I was not expecting this to be the kind of story it was, and I was just really pleasantly surprised because it was just so different from so many contemporaries and from what I expected it to be that it was really, really a surprise for me to actually love this book as much as I did. Newest, favorite new to me author. For that, I chose Derek Landy who wrote the Skullduggery Pleasant series. Even though I did not like his Demon Road trilogy, the Skullduggery Pleasant series is kind of my new fun series to read. So I had not read him yet this year, so I think he's probably my new favorite author who is new to me. So next one is newest fictional crush. Now, I used to have a lot more, like, fictional crushes. I don't do that so much anymore. Anymore, it's kind of more like, man, I would really love to be friends with that person. It's kind of weird because I read a lot of YA, so most of the characters are younger than me, and I feel weird crushing on them. So I'd say probably, as far as newest, though, this isn't really a crush, but I totally ended up appreciating him and just feeling so sorry for him and just wanting to wrap him in a blanket after reading this book. But it was Holland from Darker Shades of Magic trilogy, particularly in A Conjuring of Light. And this is by V. Schwab. The poor guy, like, I've always felt sorry for him, like, through the series, but in this last book, I really, really ended up loving him so much. So, while he's not necessarily a crush, per se, I think that I would definitely, gained a new appreciation for him, and I really felt bad for the poor guy after reading this one. Newest favorite character. I think I'm gonna go with Skullduggery Pleasant, and Valkyrie Kane, his, co-star from the Skullduggery Pleasant series, because they are just, like, completely full of sarcasm and sass. It's honestly ridiculous. Like, there is so much dark humor and sarcasm in these books that I just can't help but love it. So, as far as this year goes, probably they're my favorite characters that I have met yet. Books that made me cry. I honestly do not remember actually crying for any books this year. I spent all my tears on the Sherlock and Supernatural season finales, or just in general, watching those this year, so that was enough for me. But the books that I think made me feel the most, and I don't know, maybe I did kind of cry, was, again, List of Cages, but also, I think, another one that kind of made me, kind of emotional was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. Both were really good. Oddly enough, both were contemporaries. I didn't read a lot of historical fiction this year, and that is usually what makes me cry, so that was probably why, because I really burned myself out on World War II novels last fall. But yeah, these two were both really heartwarming stories, and they did make me feel a lot. I think what made me feel most about them was seeing the characters overcome their issues, which is kind of what gets me a lot of times, in a good way. Okay, books that made me happy. Once again, I'm going to go with the Skullduggery Pleasant series. Just seeing that much sass concentrated in one book makes me very happy. But another book that I really just enjoyed purely out of entertainment value was Geekerella by Ashley Poston. but I just enjoyed it so much, and like as a fan of multiple things, I think it finally captured like the what it really feels to be a fan, as opposed to like what people perceive fans to be, and even authors get that wrong a lot of times. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It made me very happy. So I liked that one a lot. It was just a really nice story, um, and really good characters, enjoyable. So after that, it is favorite book to film adaptation, or you can choose a retelling. I have not seen any book to film adaptations this year. I don't. There has not been any that I really wanted to see. So I'm gonna go with retelling on this, and I read a lot of retellings this year, so this was really hard. But I had to choose Spindlefire by Lexa Hillier, which is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, because um, while I think probably I enjoyed reading, what's the other one that I was thinking of? Wildwood Dancing by someone I cannot remember. More overall, like as a story, Spindlefire was just a really good retelling of Sleeping Beauty. I rarely ever like Sleeping Beauty retellings because they're unutterably dull. But this one was really cool, the world was neat, and I really enjoyed it, and it's going to have a sequel, which I didn't know when I read it. So I'm really looking forward to the conclusion of the cliffhanger at the end of it. Um, After that, we have a most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Um, this is kind of sad, but I genuinely have not bought that many books this year. I just, there haven't been a lot of books that have come out that I wanted, and I don't know, I haven't gotten around to buying any really nice ones. I think probably the one that I'm most excited about was finding this copy of A Study in Scarlet in hardback at my used bookstore. So, I mean, it's kind of pretty, so I'm gonna go with this one. Because I have not found a lot of like Sherlock Holmes books, especially the novels that are just as themselves. Usually they're in the collections, and I kind of like to collect them separately as well. But yeah, so that was probably the best answer I could come up with for that one. Um, and then finally, what books you need to read by the end of the year. So I have quite a few, but I pulled only a couple of them off my shelf because they're ones that I actually kind of want to read before the end of the year. And I know I'm not going to get to all of the ones that I have before the end of the year. So some of these have been on my shelf longer than others, but mainly this is just kind of a few that I would like to get to by the end of the year. The first one is Foundling by D.M. Cornish. I believe this is the first book in the Monster Blood Tattoo series. I've had this for so long, like, I just haven't gotten to pick it up. But it sounds really cool. So, I'm looking forward to it. The other one I have is Anti-Goddess by Kendara Blake, the first book in the Goddess War trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. This one I have not had as long. It's just I've been wanting to read it for a long time, but I will be getting to this one soon because I'm going to be writing a Greek mythology retelling, and I kind of want to get Rick Riordan out of my head. So I'm just trying to read as many other Greek mythology retellings as I can to kind of see where other people have gone. I mean, I have a very good idea about what I want to do, but I'm kind of interested to see what other people have done as well. After that, I have The Thickety, The Last Spell, which is book 4 and the final book in the series by J.A. White. Really looking forward to this one. Hopefully I'll get to it sooner rather than later, but I'm not really sure when I'll get to it, and I'm kind of sad because it's the last one in the series, even though I'm really interested to see where it ends. Then I have Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, The Hammer of Thor, book 2 in the, what is it? Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series by Rick Riordan. I still haven't gotten to this one. I just, like, I know I'll enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm just kind of disenchanted with Rick Riordan at the moment, so I'm kind of like, I don't really want to read it on principle, but whatever. I'll get to it eventually when I really feel like that. Then I have The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. really need to get to this one because I've been really, really wanting to read it for a long time. Heard a lot of good stuff about it, and I love her books. So hopefully I'll get to this one sooner rather than later as well. And finally, I have Heartless by Marissa Mayer. Obviously, I love Marissa Mayer as well, and I really, really want to get to this one soon as well. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland, I think I'll really enjoy this one. So, those are the books that I would really like to get to before the end of the year. Some I know I probably will, others not so sure about, but we'll hope. So that was my mid-year book freakout tag, and if anyone wants to do it, it's late, but I would like to see your videos as well. Let me know what some of your favorite and least favorite reads of the year were. So I hope you guys have a good rest of summer, even though August is almost halfway over, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.